The Dropout, an absolutely fantastic story which has been running for the past few days on the BBC. You must watch it. It's based on a completely true story which had my jaw dropping about one of the new entrepreneurs that actually took place. I can't urge you enough to watch it because you will be absolutely transfixed by what went on. Seen the appalling act of terrorism in Moscow a week or so ago, and again it's part of the whole monstrous loony part of society that believes in protesting, sometimes quite rightly, but using violence and murder and killings to do so. It's just the same as what happened at a concert in Manchester a few years ago. Remember the Ariana Grande massacre? But it's the same as a lot of other ones as well. And they're all condemned by the Universal Society of Man, such as the Hamas madness, when they killed loads of people and took hostages. All of these sort of things, Russia invading Ukraine, are roundly condemned by most civilized human beings, with the exception of what's going on in Gaza. And I cannot understand why that is. Surely people understand that that is the worst of all of them in recent years, up there with what happened in World War II. An entire population destroyed, hundreds of thousands, or at least tens of thousands of innocent people killed in a few weeks. It was disgraceful. It is disgraceful. Why isn't humanity doing something about it? In my opinion, NATO should invade Gaza with peacekeeping forces, which should consist of perhaps 100 soldiers from each of its member states. So that's thousands and thousands of soldiers who should go in, throw Israel out of Gaza. They have no right to be in there. Get the hostages immediately returned to Israel, arrest all the Hamas people who committed the crimes of Hamas, and take over rebuilding Gaza for the innocent citizens who live in there, millions of them. Just about to pop in to see Drive-By Dolls in the View Cinema, which doesn't sound like my sort of film at all, except it is by one of the Coen brothers and his wife, the one that's not married to Frances, who's one of the greatest actresses of our time, the other one. And they do seem to have the same kind of sense of humour that I have. So in I go and see what it's like. Drive-Away Dolls, or Drive-Away Dykes as they end up calling it. I was the only person in the cinema. I don't think that's ever happened to me before. And actually, I'm not surprised. It's not bad, but it's very, very attempt to look stylized and different and clever. And the script is very sort of, you know, artistically clever, witty, in inverted commas. And it's actually not great. It's really basically a lesbian movie about lesbian life, which I did find quite revealing, actually, considering I really started the entire acceptance of lesbianism phase back in the 60s when I recorded a song called Gay Girl that became a huge hit all over the gay clubs in Europe. I don't know if it got to America, but it certainly started a lot of people talking. Anyway, Drive Away Dolls, I think that's what it's called. I get muddled up about titles and names these days. Is really not great. I have a feeling that Ethan Cohen, I think it's his film, or Joel Cohen, whichever one's film it is, the two of them together are brilliant. Some of my favourite filmmakers in the world. But I think they need the ingredients that the two of them have. And I think that's something that happens a great deal. Funny enough, just on the radio came an Oasis track. And neither of the two brothers have managed to do anything worth listening to since Oasis fell apart and the brothers fell out. Two very nice young boys, by the way. I met them several times and found them extremely polite and nice and decent, unlike their image. But basically, whilst I wasn't mad keen on a lot of Oasis tracks, I really thought there was only one I liked, which was Don't Look Back in Anger. A bit the same as during the whole Britpop era, when Blur became huge, and the only song of Blur's I liked was that song too, which made it all the way through. But it is significant that people tend to forget how much is contributed to their art by other people. And in the music industry, that's really true. Performers or singers often get 100% of the credit for success, whereas the reality is it's usually down to songwriters, producers, arrangers, engineers, pluggers, promotion people, marketing people, record company people, publishers. All of them contribute a great deal more than the odd singer, who really contributes no more or less than the session drummer.
Gay girl, you are such a gay girl. You are such a high-flying, good-looking, groovy-moving, hippie-flippy gay girl. Saw you, met you, asked you for a date that night, said you really might come with me. Held you, loved you, left along the riverside, hand in hand and love and tide, feeling free. Gay girl, you are such a gay girl. You are such a high-flying, good-looking, groovy-moving, hippie-flippy gay girl. Gay girl, you are such a gay girl. You are such a high-flying, good-looking, groovy-moving, hippie-flippy gay girl.
false allegations continue, despite numerous people pointing out, and even in the media covering, the disgraceful false allegations industry, highlighted by people like Carl Beach, who made those allegations against Ted Heath and other dead people, and as a result is in prison for 18 years. And yet all the others, who many of whom make allegations which are false against living people, actually are walking free. A lot of them actually get convictions of innocent people, and that happens all the time. I don't know in every single case who's innocent, who's guilty, but having been through that myself, I'm pretty certain that 80 to 90% of the convictions of sex allegations are wrong, and the people should not be found guilty. But either way, it still seems to go on. You open the paper every day and there's something in there about a new false allegations been made and a new victim of false allegations who's either been convicted or has been acquitted, and very brief reports of the false accusers, but still covering in tiny paragraphs, because they much prefer the ones that result in convictions, because they can smear people like mad and say nasty things. It is unfortunate that in this new era of communications, particularly involving social media, more and more the nasty side of humanity seems to be getting heard. I don't think there's more of them than there is of anything else. Let's face it, the social media loonies who are so nasty about people are no more in ratio than the people who used to gossip over the garden fence about people. But they are just louder than everyone else. Now they have the amplification of social media, and most people love a good scandal or a good negative story and are only too happy to talk about it on social media. It's all gone terribly wrong, hasn't it? Thank God I'm nearly 80 and I won't be around in 20 or 30 years when humanity finally becomes extinct. I mentioned last week Michael Lockwood used to be head of the IOPC and is progressing in his problems. I mentioned him because I complained to the IOPC several times during my most recent and totally failed Surrey police attempt to do me again for any kind of sexual abuse. And they were breaking the rules and breaking the law on many occasions, and I complained to the IOPC, which is meant to look after police behaviour, just like the CCRC is meant to look into miscarriages of justice. Lockwood constantly refused, sending me letters saying it wasn't his concern, he didn't look at individual things. Sadly, what's happening now is karma is kicking in, as it did to Max Clifford, the man who started the original cases against me in the year 2000. I thought you might be amused by watching this. A clip from my show, Good Evening, I'm Jonathan King, which was on prime time Saturday evenings around 6 or 7 in the evening on ITV, up against the BBC, which had Simon D and the Monkeys. We came a bad second to them, but we did actually manage to get about 10 million viewers. Hi, way back over 40 years ago in 1967, I had my own TV series on ITV in Great Britain. It ran every Saturday night from 6:30 in the evening till 7. And it ran for 26 weeks. It was very successful and very popular. I was 19 or 20. I looked very different then from what I look now. And I just thought you might be amused to watch a little bit of A, seeing what I looked like with a silly little beard and moustache. It was the summer of love then, of course. And B, certain lovely ladies, Bridget Brophy, Diana Rigg, who's now, of course, Dame Diana Rigg, Cathy McGowan and Adrian Poster. I think they're the four, all of whom talk to me about love, marriage and such things. It's very funny.
They do, and it's always... And I think girls nowadays are not really that interested.
Well, let me put my point of view across. I reckon a woman's only concern is to trap a man into marriage, right? And that she does it all the year long, every year. Leap year, it just all comes out in the open. All right, Georgia.
It's a very old-fashioned sort of idea.
Nobody
that we want to
takes
catch you and have you protect us and look after us and pay for all our wants and needs. It's all old rubbish.
I think leap
it,
year
Tom.
is a state of desperation for a woman.
Yes.
Seriously, if all other channels have failed, she can look forward to leap year.
Yes.
But then, you know, then you don't propose to anybody anyway. It's kind of... I don't think there's any need anymore, do you?
That's right.
I mean, it's kind of 50-50. And anyway, I know after kind of 6 weeks whether I want to marry somebody, and then I think they should know the same about me.
When's this
Mind, I
now?
haven't met anyone yet.
Oh.
I'd like an offer.
Well, we'll see about that afterwards.
How about that then?
No, but look, let's take the chivalry thing, because I reckon the age of chivalry isn't quite dead. I think really all of you, if you'd be quite honest, would love to have a man on his knees in front of you with a bunch of roses in his hand. Bridget, you're not saying a word. How about you? Do you think
I've always found it intensely embarrassing, the 570 times that it has happened to me. On the other hand, I am extremely chivalrous towards men.
Yes. How about the rest of you? The same?
I certainly wouldn't like anybody on his knees in front of me with a bunch of flowers saying, will you marry me? It would put
Saying
me into
words of
shock.
love and whispering darling into your left ear.
I'd call the doctor immediately.
Oh, I think that's rather nice.
Ah.
Oh, I think it must be lovely, you know,
So you-
saying, I love you, you know, give us a kiss, 2.5 lovely. I think it's nice. What, don't you think it's lovely? When they're all sort of...
No.
You do, because
I
if you
don't.
want him, you
It's
don't want him on
lovely.
his knees in front of you.
Absolutely.
Possibly the other way round, but not that way round.
Not the other way around either.
Well, right, but perhaps we ought to go into that later.
Diana, you'd have you both standing there and both saying it at the same time.
No, I'm very much with Georgia. Frankly, I think proposals and all that sort of ritual is dead and out completely.
Don't you find when if a man says marry me, within about 2 or 3 weeks, he's gone
off.
absolutely hysterical.
Yes.
He's panicked out of his mind. And I should imagine if we asked him, he'd go mad on the spot.
Well, now, you're all career girls. Do you reckon marriage can easily fit in with a career? Any feelings? No, you don't think it's
Yes, I think so, because, I mean, for me, we can't really talk, can we, in general about that, but for me, I think it'd be important to have independence, and I wouldn't like someone to turn around and be able to say to me, kind of, get out, you know, I'd like everything kind of 50-50, even the house, you know, so that,
Well, I now
I'd
want
be
to pick you up
completely
on personal feelings. Let's assume we're all 5 of you free, so forget your husband for a moment, Bridget, and you could propose to any man in the world you wanted to propose to.
Jonathan
Who would you
King.
choose? Oh, no. First of all, Bridget, how about you?
Oh, undoubtedly the poet laureate. Not for his poetry, just for his sheer sexiness.
Whoever it was, or C.J. Lewis?
C.J. Lewis.
You would? For his sheer sexiness?
Yes.
I hope he's watching. He'll love that. Kathy?
There you go, a brief burst of Jonathan King, 1967, talking to lots of lovely ladies. By the way, the lady I forgot to introduce at the beginning was the terrific Georgia Brown, the very first lady who played Nancy in Oliver, and a great talent. Well, if you want more from those 1960 archives, let me know. I went on making records and writing books.
Round, round, out of your mind. You think you're seeing things, I know you're blind. A million bright colors explode in your head. Today you're just high, tomorrow you're dead. Round, 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 round. Giggle like whitewash and laugh at the wall. The prancing Pied Piper is not there at all. Have a gay time and get large when you're small. You're doing it cause you enjoy it. Bounce around happily, float in the air. Ride along skyways, paint stars with your hair. Don't be perturbed if the world dares to stare. You're doing it cause you enjoy it. Round, round, out of your mind. You think you're seeing things, I know you're blind. A million bright colors explode in your head. Today you're just high, tomorrow you're dead. Round, 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 round. A superior being, you'll bubble along. When your reflexes weaken, they'll kick you back strong. You're up in the clouds, just where you don't belong. And you're doing it cause you enjoy it. Round, round, out of your mind. You think you're seeing things, I know you're blind. A million bright colors explode in your head. Today
against Trump continues, and it really is disgraceful. What was this latest one that he had to put up a bond of almost $5 million or whatever? I don't know what it all is. I can't follow it all. I'm sure he can afford it, really. But I just hate the way he's being attacked. I can't stand Trump. He's not my sort of politician, not my sort of president. I disagree with almost all of his policies, particularly those racist policies of trying to get rid of people who want to live in America. If they'd done that in the early days, America would be empty. Nobody would be there at all. It is, after all, a country that exists almost totally, apart from the Native Americans, of people who have come in from other countries. But either way, so Trump is ghastly, but it's awful what they do to him. And I just hate the people who attack people for the wrong reasons and in the wrong way. And I can't stand people who, as a result, tend to actually vote for the other people or whatever. I mean, if I was American and if I was conscious of voting, rather like in Britain, I don't think I'd choose any of them. I think they're all awful. None of them have got any backbone. None of them dare say or do anything that the media or the majority of people might criticise, even if it's the best. And it's strange. I always tended to go for people whose policies I was really strongly against, but I thought they were individuals, were decent. Actually, I don't think Trump is decent at all. But, for example, I always thought Boris Johnson was actually quite an amusing, entertaining and intelligent person that you probably like to spend time with, although I didn't agree with most of his policies either. I thought Margaret Thatcher, was a most terrific lady. I met her, and in person I liked her enormously. I disagreed with most of her policies, but I thought she did more for women than almost anybody else has ever done in the world. And Jeremy Corbyn, who I think is a very decent, honourable, kind, good human being, was brought down by people slandering him, basically painting him as something he wasn't. The anti-Semitism thing is absolute bollocks, but he was brought down. Even though I liked him and thought he would have been a probably pretty decent Prime Minister, I actually also disagreed with most of his policies, which are far too left-wing for me, particularly the ones that meant basically all my savings that I've had over the years would have been taken away for one reason or another and put into some social project. But anyway, that's my feelings. Isn't it weird that famous people who get attacked possibly don't deserve to be attacked for the reasons they're being attacked for, even if they do deserve to be attacked for other much more important reasons? Talking of strange politicians who get attacked by social media and the traditional media, how on earth has Keir Starmer existed for so long? You know, and I know, there must be dozens, hundreds, millions of people working behind the scenes to find someone or some people, actually they only need to find one person, who he either raped or had sex with when they were underage or whatever. God knows whether it's true or not. There must be people out there who would say it happened. In this day and age, it goes on all the time. Whether people are lying or telling the truth doesn't seem to matter, even to the justice system. And what astonishes me is that nobody's yet done that with Keir Starmer. I'm sure it'll happen at any moment, and it will lead to Labour quite possibly losing the general election. In fact, the only thing that puzzles me is, why hasn't it happened yet? I'm not a Starmer fan at all, but I'm not a fan of his for various reasons. The main one being that when he was Director of Public Prosecutions, he brought in and championed the believe every victim even if they they are lying police commandment, which has been responsible for more misery, more deaths and more unhappiness than almost anything else that's ever happened in the world. It makes terrorist strikes look like minor incidents. But that's one of the main reasons why I don't like the man. But I'm just astonished that he's still there. Why hasn't somebody used the weapon of destruction of this current century, sex allegations, or even false sex allegations? Well, it's Easter, so I want you all to go off and have a wonderful, relaxing few days, eat lots and lots of gorgeous eggs, see lots of lovely bunnies, and celebrate this wonderful time of the year. Oh, I'm such an old cynic. See you next time for A Victim Bites Back 75.